merry-go, round, round with ya. In and out, then up and down, down.
Why are women like Meghan McCain, Bethany Frankel, and Megyn Kelly so intimidated and envious of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex? I'm seriously asking because it's like the only way for these women to get any attention is to mention the Duchess or critique and gaslight everything she does. Meghan could be smiling and they would critique that. Or recently, Meghan announced her As Ever brand on her Instagram page, and Meghan McCain blew a gasket out of that square-shaped head of hers while chanting, "I cannot stand her. I cannot stand her. Ah!" And I'm like, girl, calm down. It's not that deep. And then of course, Bethany Frankel inserts herself in with her 2 cents before her next Botox and filler session to annoy us by saying Meghan is too perfect. Like what? These heifers got nothing else better than to show us why they're so insecure when it comes to Meghan Sussex or Meghan Markle or Meghan the Duchess of Sussex or Princess Meghan or Meghan. Just Meghan. This beautiful, kind-hearted soul who, unfortunately, and Harry felt guilty, but he made up for it, of course, when he was able to get her away from the toxic, evil, hateful demons who tried to take away her true self of a royal family. And it almost worked. It worked with most of the wives married into the institution, but Harry, as mentioned, was able to save Meghan the same way she saved him when he thought he was trapped there. And since they did leave and never looked back, all the blame was put on Meghan. The same women who claimed to have liked her at first until they saw her black mom and her beautiful locks. And of course after that they couldn't just flat out hate this half black woman because they didn't want to be seen as racist or bigots. So they used doormat mumbling Kate to justify their hatred towards Meghan. But you see, that didn't work. It's quite obvious. It's the same playbook every time. It's the same playbook when it comes to black women in general. Mixed race black women, women of color, yeah. But we're going to just keep the focus on mixed race black women. So, of course, to hide it even further, which, I mean, it's quite obvious at this point, but yeah, to try to hide it even further, they try to use anything to criticize her. Like, of course, like I just mentioned before from Bethany Frankel, she's too perfect. She smiles too much. She's clingy towards Harry. She abuses Harry. She's manipulative. She's all these things, yet you keep talking about her. Now we know that Meghan aren't those things, but every time they see her thriving and being happy with a man who moved on from his toxic relatives to protect his family meaning Meghan and their children, instead of staying with the British royal family, aka the Royal Four Royals, it will always leave a bad taste in their hateful mouths. Because Harry was supposed to stay while Meghan and baby Archie leave. We'll just pretend that they never happened. They were a fever dream. But now this is the real world. And to them, this black woman stole all the prince and is living the soft life we're supposed to be living. She's married to the handsome white British prince who is supposed to be ours. All white British prince that we're entitled to. How dare her black DNA mix with 1,000-year-old DNA of European British royalty? How dare Meghan have a life and hobby with friends? Oh my. Anyway, let the heifers hate and continue to spread their BS because our girl, she's good. We have facts and receipts on our side. And longtime fans like Emily, who shared in her TikTok her experience and her story time with Meghan, yeah, it's just one of the many proofs and receipts that Meghan is the complete opposite of what the media tries to portray her as. Take a look.
I would love to do a story time. This is the story of the time that I met Meghan Markle and she came down from the interview stage in the middle of the interview to give me a handwritten letter and a box of macaroons. So the backstory of it all is that I've been one of her biggest fans since I was 13 when I watched Suits in like 2012. And then I found her social media and immediately became obsessed with her and like blew up her comments all the time because I was a teen with no restrictions on social media. Instead of being super creeped out, Meghan saw that she had this like young girl looking up to her, and treated me with kindness. So she started interacting with me on social media, and kept interacting with me on social media for all the way up until Harry happened. So in 2016, when I was 16, she had an interview in New York City at AOL Build, and I basically forced my mom to take me. I lived just a couple hours away from the city. Yeah, I told her I was coming, and she told me she would be so excited to meet me, and then it happened. So the most common reaction that I get when I tell this story is people are like, why were you so obsessed with her? And to me, I'm like, of course I was. But if people didn't know her before Harry, like, they only know the like hurting and hidden version of her. And I had the chance to know her when she was free to be who she was, and who she was kind. Like, she was just a kind, thoughtful, present, genuine, generous human being. I also wasn't the only one that had this relationship with her. There's a small group of us that she used to interact with really regularly. And the thing about that is, like, she saw that she had this group of young people looking up to her, and she recognized that as an opportunity to empower us and to like be a mentor. And also that so many of us were teenagers and like inherently sad and struggling, and she made us feel seen. And then she started her blog, and like she knew that we were reading it, and so she didn't take that responsibility lightly to teach us so much. And like so much of who I am today is because of things that like were earth-shattering to me when I read them on the TIG, because they were messages about independence and about helping others and just like being full of love for both yourself and others. And like that's who I strive to be today and have always been. And in no small part, it's because I read it on the TIG. Like, I have a vivid memory of being in my room and reading the TIG, and I read the words, "You are enough," and I just like stared at my computer and bawled my eyes out, because I had never thought that before about myself as a teenager. And then I read it, and she told me it, and I was like, and like that didn't mean nothing, you know? And she knew we were reading. So yeah, that's who she is. And I'd be happy to share things from the TIG that I still remember today, if anyone is even still watching this video now. But also, if you're curious, just go look at my recent TikToks, because I've been posting a lot recently, and some of that is there also. And as someone who's been around since day one, back when she didn't have that many followers, even before the blog began, what she's gone through in the past few years is not small. And who she is now, I like get emotional over it, because like she's healing, and she's finally realizing that like no matter what, there's gonna be people that don't understand her, and the fact that she's now sharing herself with us in things like the show and her social media is like a very healed version of her, and I'm so excited to see what that brings.
And there's so many videos for actual people who aren't famous celebrities speaking highly of Meghan, the true Meghan. Anywho, I'm going to wrap up this podcast with a brief WR-Skit. So hit it, horse smeller.
This podcast is sponsored by Hermist,
where the breeze will lead you onto the lap of your very own married middle-aged father of two. Buy it at your local staff fora or at an available Amazon storefront today. Hey, oh yes. William, must we watch this calm in your father's office?
It heightens the excitement, don't you think?
I'm a bit uncomfortable.
Walking in on your husband and his friend is uncomfortable. Watching horror movies with me should slightly loosen you up. What are you doing in my office? Oh God, from the sound of it, I don't want to know. I thought you were in your sleeping quarters. I was, until I was informed that you were in my office doing God knows what with your mistress.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
Did William put you up to this? I've heard stories about you and Camilla that would make what myself and Rose are doing look like a nursery show. Tampon, baby. Meghan's latest Instagram post, a mood board for her brand As Ever, is filled with Easter eggs, including a tease of her first product and a glimpse at her upcoming show with Love, Meghan. In a black and white photograph pinned towards the top of the board, Meghan cleans glasses with guest Alice Walters as they sit near a pool. Alice Walters is a famed American chef, restaurateur, activist. She authored many cookbooks and opened a farm-to-table restaurant in 1971. In 1971, I met my tampon baby. Oh, Camilla, darling. Ugh.
Oh, what are you all doing here at this hour?
I should be asking you that very question.
I was told that it really wasn't here so I wanted to surprise him.
I don't want any of your surprises.
Well, too bad. I've decided to make a corn movie for you.
What?
Yes, and now I can show you all since you're here.
Catherine, really?
Don't Catherine me, Rose. Just watch.
You seriously have to lock her up somewhere? I'm working on it. I've heard quite enough. Now, all of you, out of my office, at once.
And that's all for this podcast. And I hope that your days are filled with blue skies, sunshines with positive vibes. I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell. Also, join a membership, as well as my Amazon storefront. You can also follow me on TikTok, Red Note, Blue Sky, and follow Oreo and Luna on Facebook. My name is Deanna, and you are watching Thriving with the Successes. I'll talk to you soon.